Back to our top story today. Search and rescue teams have now located the crash site of a helicopter carrying Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi and the country's foreign minister, which suffered a, quote, hard landing last night in Iran's East Azerbaijan province. According to state media, there is no sign of life detected at the crash site. The head of the Iranian Red Crescent has also said the entire cabin of the helicopter was significantly damaged and burned, and that, as we report this news, there are no signs of survivors. Attention now turns to Vice President Mohammad Mokbar, who is next in line for the presidency and, according to Iran's constitution, will take over and assume the functions of the president until an election is held within a period of 50 days. We've been following the overall market impact for you. First to oil, we have seen prices ticking just slightly higher here. Of course, no near-term immediate impact on supply, but Iran is a consequential supplier to major markets like China, despite being under heavy Western sanctions. You can see WTI at 80.09, just trending above the flat line there. Brent crude at 84.11, also 0.15% stronger, perhaps moving higher on what could potentially be an uptick in regional tensions off the back of this. But of course, more questions than answers at this point, and this still is a fast-moving, developing story. I want to bring in Nader Itayim in next. He's OPEC and Middle East energy and geopolitics analyst at Argus Media. He joins us live from Dubai. First of all, Nader, great to have you on today, and thank you so much for sharing your fast thoughts on this significant story for the region. First and foremost, what do you see as the implications? How do you see this impacting Iranian domestic politics, first of all?
Sure. Thank you, Dan. It's great to be on. As you said, this has taken, the region by it's a shock. This is not something expected. It's not something we really see nowadays that often. In terms of implications, domestic implications, first and foremost, this is really, there's been a bit of a power struggle in Iran over the last few years. You've seen it generally sort of between the more hardline factors and the more, the not so hardline, so to speak. That kind of changed, dynamics changed a little bit with the election of Raisi, and that we saw a situation in which you had the supreme leader, who obviously is the most hardline, with a president that is also aligned in the same direction. Now what we've been seeing, the last few years is this power struggle between the IRGC on one side, but other conservative factions. So with Mokbar coming into taking that position over the next 50 days at least, what we see is that you guarantee at least that the IRGC's role and the position in those higher echelons of the way Iran is, functioned and led, it's gonna remain intact and even potentially intensify. That interim presidency, so to speak, that's going to potentially pave the way for even more IRGC control over, administrative policies, so on and so forth. There is a conversation around the supreme leader and what happens next, purely because Raisi was considered to be one of the, leading frontrunners, so to speak, for the next supreme leader, and there was an idea that Khamenei was actually preparing him for that role. But I think we're kind of running before we walk here. So we can cast that aside for the time being, because I think there's more questions than answers at this point. When we're looking more beyond Iran's borders, in that sense, I don't see much change. Iran's foreign policy is likely going to remain consistent as it was now. The strategic decisions were always really set by the supreme leader and the IRGC as well. So the president is a figurehead in Iran. He has power, but only to a certain extent. So, as far as I'm concerned and the viewers are concerned, really, we think we can expect, continued rigidity in U.S. relations and regional policies, continued focus on regional domestic politics and sort of regional improving relations with the neighboring countries. That all should stay similar.